James Thomas Morning Blend. I have today with me Amy Newmark, author and editor-in-chief of Chicken Soup for the Soul. That's right, Chicken Soup for the Soul. Good morning, Amy. How are you?
I'm great. Thanks for having me on.
Well, thank you for joining us. So we've all heard of Chicken Soup for the Soul. What exactly is a Chicken Soup for the Soul book?
A lot of men don't know what we are. Most women know. We've been around 29 years already, which is pretty amazing. And we've published more than 300 titles, maybe close to 400. What we do is we crowdsource our books. That's to use a current buzzword, right? We crowdsource and then we curate. We compile 101 stories from the public for each book. And we get thousands of stories submitted for each book. These have to be personal, revealing, introspective, true stories that come from people's hearts about some milestone in their lives or some great piece of advice they want to pass on to people they don't even know. And we do various topics. And so what I do is I go through with my team the thousands of submissions, and we pick 101 stories that we think provide the broadest range of experiences and advice and wisdom related to whatever topic the book is about.
So I know you cover lots of different topics in your books. Why this one now?
So this is a really important book for me. It's a passion project for me because I've been doing this job for 14 years and I have read tens of thousands, maybe 100,000 personal, revealing, true stories that come from people's hearts where they really bare their souls to us. And I've learned that the biggest thing that people care about is happiness. There's this constant quest for happiness. And being a very analytical person, I used to be a Wall Street analyst. I analyze all of these tens of thousands of stories that I've read. And I've realized that there are 10 keys to happiness. The cool thing is that I identify the 10 keys in my new book, but you don't have to do all 10. Even if you just do one of the 10 keys to happiness, it will make a big difference to you. And I've used all of these myself, and everybody says to me that I seem so much less stressed, even though I have this, incredibly busy job. I know I'm more grateful, I'm less judgmental, I'm more grounded. I just get along better with people. It's all because of these 10 keys to happiness and how they have caused me to adjust my outlook and the way I run my own life.
So what are the 10 keys?
So the first one is to count your blessings. And that's really important, to use the power of gratitude to make yourself aware of what's good in your life so that you look at what's abundant in your life, not what you perceive that you lack in your life. And the second key is to use the power of forgiveness to put the past in the past, which is where it belongs. And then in no particular order, the remaining 8 keys to happiness are help someone else, because by volunteering or donating, you feel richer yourself, more powerful yourself when you help others. Another key to happiness is to have less stuff. And it's spring cleaning time, right? Well, there's just such a psychic weight to having too much stuff in your home and even on your schedule. So have less stuff in your home, less stuff on your schedule. It will free you. Another key to happiness is to always try to think positively. So the moment that something bad happens or a challenge comes up, say, I know there's a silver lining in there, and immediately look for that silver lining because you will always find it. Another key to happiness is to make me time. Carve out half an hour a day, an hour a day to do whatever you want to do, whether it's taking a walk, reading a book, playing with the dog, writing your novel, or carve out 3 hours a week. But you've got to have some kind of me time that you can look forward to. Another key to happiness, and this is one that I subscribe to quite vigorously, is to step outside your comfort zone. Do things that are new, that are scary, that you didn't think you could do. It's so energizing and empowering to step outside your comfort zone. And then another key to happiness is to pursue your passion. So if you're not passionate about your job like you and I are, if your job is just a job, well, pursue your passion outside of your job. And then finally, and this 10th key to happiness is one I think we've all become more aware of as a result of the COVID shutdown, is get outside in nature. What a relief it is to get outside in nature and gain that perspective and see the animals running around conducting their lives, and you just realize that your problems aren't that important in the grand scheme of things.
Now, Amy, it's interesting your book comes out on June 7th, but actually, I think it should have come out in May because May is Mental Health Month. And that would have been a perfect time.
I know. What can I say? I mean, it's a publishing schedule. We just have to slot them in.
Yeah.
So we do about one book a month. So this is just where this one happened to fall.
Now, are any of the 10 keys more important than the others?
Yeah, I put Count Your Blessings and forgiveness first in the book, because I think that without those two traits kind of embedded in your character, you can't truly be happy. All the other ones are optional and are just like gravy. But these are really important, because count your blessings. If you're not thankful for what you have, how are you going to be happy? And the cool thing about gratitude is that some people are born naturally grateful and they see the positives in their lives, and some people are not born that way. You can actually add gratitude on to your personality. It's one of the few things you can add on. And it's very simple to go through a gratitude practice and make it a daily habit, and then make it part of who you are. So the first story in the book, which is by Jennifer Quasha, talks about that. Jennifer was always a very negative person, starting in middle school. She always saw the negative in everything. She was depressed. She said a lot of her family members were depressed, and she wanted to break out of that prison of depression. And she had a little date book, and it had just a tiny bit of extra room on each day. And she decided that every night before she went to sleep, she would write one good thing that happened to her that day in her date book. And that's very simple. And it takes 30 seconds to do it, but it refocused her all day long. She was paying attention to what was good in her life and picking the item she was going to write in her date book. And she says she wishes she had started doing that in middle school. And I've read thousands of stories from people who actively practice gratitude by writing down one thing a day, 3 things a day, 10 things a week. It really works. And then the other key to happiness is forgiveness. So I think of a lack of forgiveness like it's a cloak. You're wearing this heavy cloak, and you've sewn onto this cloak every resentment, disappointment, hurtful thing that has ever happened to you. So you're walking along, and this heavy cloak is weighing you down, and it's pulling you back. Well, all of those things really belong in your past. Imagine shrugging your shoulders, dropping that cloak behind you, leaving all that stuff in the past, which is where it belongs, and not bringing it with you into your present or your future. The cloak is behind you. You're walking forward light and free. And there was a great story that I started our forgiveness chapter with. It's by Lynn Sunday. And she had been many years out from her divorce, but all she did was complain about her ex-husband. She complained to her family, her friends, strangers. And finally, her best friend said to her, Lynn, you might as well still be married to the man. You take him with you wherever you go. And it was such an eye-opener for Lynn. And she said, oh my gosh, what am I doing? My ex-husband is conducting a happy life, and he's moved forward, and I'm stuck in the past. So, you know what's interesting about the word forgiveness? It doesn't mean you're saying the person didn't do the bad thing to you. Forgiveness means you've decided to stop reacting to it. You can intellectually know it happened, but you don't have to keep feeling those emotions over again. So those are my 2 most important keys to happiness.
Now, I noticed that you have a little introduction at the beginning of each chapter before each of the keys. Talk a little bit about that.
Well, I really want this book to be part of my legacy at Chicken Soup for the Soul. And I decided that I would basically be a tour guide for the reader. So instead of just presenting 10 stories in each chapter about the 10 keys to happiness, I thought, let me start off each chapter with a little guided tour of what the reader is going to see. And so these introductions are really a condensation of the greatest wisdom that I have received from working in this job for 14 years. And so I'm really excited about this twist on a Chicken Soup for the Soul book, where I do give a guided tour and meet the reader at the beginning of each chapter.
Wow. Amy, it's been interesting talking to you again. You're right, timing. But it's very interesting book. You gotta read it. I like the part of forgiveness. I think I need to work on that a lot more. Think positive. I need to do that for myself and make some more me time. I need more me time.
Right?
Yeah,
Absolutely.
absolutely.
Yeah.
We've been
My
talking.
me time is reading. Reading.
Yeah,
Every night I know I'm going to get to read for an hour, and that's my me time. It's very
yeah.
important.
For me, it would be exercise. It would be
Yeah.
exercise, definitely. We're talking today with Amy Newmark, author and editor in chief of Chicken of the Soul. And we've been talking about this book and talking about 10 keys to happiness. Thank you again for joining us on Morning Blend.
Oh, thanks so much.